Welcome back, YouTube, to another video of Ask Builder. I am Ed Builder, a long-term real estate investor and consultant to entrepreneurs like yourself. I've spent 10 years of my life consulting with some of the largest Fortune 500 companies. I'm bringing you guys more information on PUA, PPP, EIDLs, the grants, the reconsideration. So subscribe to my channel, ring the bell so you guys can get notified when new information and new content comes available. Now, just a short disclaimer, of course, I am not a certified CPA nor a licensed practicing attorney, and please consult with your CPA or attorneys if you have very specific questions. In today's video, I'd like to talk to you about what to expect if you have been approved for an EIDL loan. Now remember, this is for those of you who have been accepted, who have been approved. Let's get into it. The SBA will send you an invitation to access the portal and set up login credentials. So just open your email from the SBA and click on that green bar, and it'll take you right over to the SBA portal. You're going to set up a username. Pick something that you typically would use. Maybe it's your name and initials, etc., and choose yourself a password. Now the SBA is going to ask you to verify your identity. So it may ask you, what street did you grow up on, or what city were you born in? Maybe what's the most common bank account you use, etc. Right? So once you pass through all that verification, you're going to be right inside the portal. It may ask you to log back in, so log back out, log back in with your new credentials, and it's going to show you what your offer is for. So maybe it might show up that you've been approved for $80,000. Now notice there's a slide bar. It moves left to right. That slide bar indicates your monthly payments. So if you want to slide it more to the left, it's going to get less and less as you get closer to zero. And if you slide it to the right, you're going to notice your payments are going up as the amount increases or decreases. Now remember, this is a 3.75 interest rate. You can get yourself one of those interest rate calculators and figure it out on your own, but this is a nice little tool that the SBA provides for you. So keep in mind a few things here. When you're looking at the slide bar and you're adjusting it back and forth, remember a few things. Your payments aren't going to start for a year, okay, which they're due after 30 years, a rather long-term loan for such a business loan. Typical business loans are about 5 years. So this 30-year loan does offer you a small monthly payment, but typically, if you're in business for yourself, you should be trying to achieve the goal of paying off your loans within 5 years. In this case, your payments aren't due for a year. However, you still have to make the payments complete by 30 years. So it leaves you a remaining of 29 years. And on your last payment, your last day of payment, you have to pay the balance of that previous year. So keep that in mind. So if your payments are, say, $1,000 a month, and you've gone and, say, taken close to $150,000 loan, remember that you will have $12,000 due at that last payment. Okay, so just keep that in mind. Now, if you have smaller payments, $250 a month, you still could be seeing a substantial $2,500 to $3,000 payment that's due all at once at the very last payment. Another thing to keep in mind, if you've gone and accepted a loan offer for greater than $25,000, there is a $100 third-party processing fee, and that processing fee will be deducted from your transfers. So let's say you've gotten a $100,000 loan, you would only receive $99,900. That fee is automatically drawn during that transfer. Another thing to keep in mind, anytime you exceed that $25,000 threshold, you are going to be asked to collateralize and insure with hazard insurance anything over that $25,000. Make sure you get into your terms and conditions. I have a video specifically regarding the terms and conditions of the EIDL loan and what it means to be collateralized once you get over that $25,000 threshold. So be sure to check out those videos. I'll link those down below for you. So how do you decide how much money you should take? Well, what I would do is I would take a look back at my past 12 months previously to COVID. Okay, so don't look at anything that's COVID related. So what I would do is I would take a look back at my past 12 months of operating expenses. Remember, operating expenses are the only thing that this fund can be used for. So go back and say maybe you had 1 month of operating expenses of $1,000, the next month maybe it was $5, then maybe it was $3, then maybe it was $4. Go ahead and add all that up. Maybe it was $120,000 was your operating expense. So each month you average it out to $10,000. Go ahead and add it up for all 12 months and then divide it by 12. That's going to bring you your average. So maybe it comes out to $10,000 a month. Maybe it comes out to $5,000 a month. You're going to want to ask yourself, how many months of liquidity do you want to return yourself to pre-COVID conditions, right? Is it 6 months? Is it a year before you truly think you will recover back to your pre-COVID conditions? So take your average operating expense per month and determine how many months you need to carry yourself forward. Maybe you need to carry yourself 5 months forward. Maybe you need to carry yourself 10 months forward, okay? So if you had $5,000 at 10 months, you're going to need to ask for $50,000, okay? That's what's great about this portal. The SBA has gone and said, you're approved for $100,000, but with this simple tool of adjusting, you could adjust below $100,000, okay? So if you only wanted to take $50,000, you could drop that bar down to $50,000. You can see what your monthly payments look like. You can go ahead and process that application forward, accept that offer, and then move on to the next steps. Now, I have not seen any negotiation where the portal allows you to increase the value above the $100,000 that they've gone and suggested that you're approved for. I have not seen anywhere where you could go back to the SBA and ask for more money. I'm sure there's a negotiation regarding that. However, you probably will need to bring new information to the table that the SBA hasn't previously already seen to go ahead and evaluate what that threshold looks like and what that offer should be. But also be careful too, because when you're presenting more information to the SBA, they may even reconsider and say, oh, well, actually, based on this new information, you're not actually in an economic injury, so we're actually going to shorten the amount of money we're willing to give you. So just be careful, be cautious, and do your due diligence to go back and take a look at what that 12-month history looks like, okay, to really determine how much money you need. So let's say it's $50,000 you need. That's going to cover your operating expenses. Let's say you had some revolving credit out there that you've gone and used credit cards to extend yourself because your revenue wasn't coming in, so you've gone and used credit cards to extend yourself through a few months. You can actually pay off that debt of that revolving credit with the EIDL loan. So, if that value is $10,000, go ahead and add that $10,000 to that top of that $50,000 and ask yourself if you need $60,000, and you can go ahead and immediately wipe out that debt. Save your receipts, save all your records for a minimum of 3 years, because you will need to prove what those funds are for. I've gone and provided links to videos concerning that below, so go ahead and check out those videos. Now, another thing you may want to consider is if you are looking to satisfy your own salary and your own net income, make sure you include those into your operating expense, because you can pay your own salary out of this. You have to be careful. Now, you're not going to go and give yourself a raise, but if you made regular payments to yourself over those months, and maybe it was $1,000, $2,000, whatever that may have been, if you've gone and made salary payments to yourself, go ahead and tack those on to the loans, because you will not want to extend yourself through these times without making sure that you can cover your own expenses of paying yourself. All right, guys, I want to take some time to answer some of your comments that have been left on this channel. A lot of questions concerning EIDL and understanding, what the next steps everybody needs to take from whether or not they've been approved, reconsideration. I'll link videos to all of this below if you need to see any videos concerning reconsideration, if you're concerned about PPP and funding and what those funds can be used for, or what the forgiveness looks like on those funds. Check out my other videos. I have tons of content to help you guys make good informed decisions. As always, guys, give me a thumbs up. Post your comments below. I'm reviewing comments daily, answering any questions that I may be able to provide assistance for, and I may even be featuring them on future videos. James R. Matazzaro posts, these disaster loans, meaning if there's a hurricane or tornado, the government shouldn't ask for your credit, and your house has been trashed. Same concept. I think this language should be in the next bill, detailing that grants should not be denied based on credit. I don't disagree with you, James. I think that's some great recommendations. Also, to understand that even the SBA is asking for hazard insurance, meaning that if a hurricane or tornado or some fire or natural disaster, and you are above the $25,000 threshold, that you can insure any balance of that $25,000 threshold with some form of collateral. that's insured, right? So I don't disagree with James. I mean, we were hit with some natural disaster. Why are we checking our credit, right? Merrick also responds and says, Corona didn't ask to check my credit score when it hit. Good comments. Amin asks, has anybody gotten a response yet to their reconsideration email? Post your comments down below if you've received your response. We'd like to see what your experience is like. David Miley writes, called today regarding the grant, told someone separate looks at the grant, loan declined because of credit, no grant, credit pulled 4.6, just got the decline this morning. David, it's in your best interest that if you truly need this loan to go through the reconsideration process, if your credit has been affected, check out my videos on the reconsideration and tips on how to improve your credit or ask for a cosigner when you go back. Maybe in some cases you could provide additional tax information that demonstrates that you are suffering and your credit score has suffered. What the SBA is mainly asking for is that you provide new information outside of that very small application process that was originally processed. SH says, mine also said unsatisfactory history. I submitted reconsideration showing them 4 disputes that are still active. This was 10 days ago and I haven't heard anything back yet. Keep holding. I'm sure that they're processing these things rather slowly. If you can imagine, they're still processing through the original the original request for funds that has not yet closed. So reconsideration is also taking some time. Andrew Cool writes, I was declined because of my credit in bad shape right now. I would like to submit reconsideration with the co-borrower. Has anybody done this yet? Yes. Your co-borrower would also have to have a good credit history that is going to be naturally better than your credit history. So be careful when selecting whoever that particular person is going to be. I do have reconsideration videos linked. Go check those out. I offer you all kinds of advice on who to select, and making sure that the person you select understands that if you gain a loan greater than $25,000 that there is expected collateral behind it. Richard Evans, I was declined my EIDL loan because of SBA needed additional information. SBA needed me to send them current tax returns and my signed file 4. I mean, if you have them available, do it. If your 2019s aren't available yet, I would recommend that you prepare your 2019s and use those as more information that you can provide into the SBA. Amy Perkins, it's frustrating that they are doing this for the reconsideration when there's still millions of applications that haven't been even processed. This has been a mess since day one. Amy, I don't disagree with you. A lot of people out here are frustrated. Keep positive, stay looking towards the future, and keep a smile on. King Cap, I did my reconsideration today, faxed it in, dropped in a copy of an email too. I need my loan. The little grant was only $1,000 and it was only enough to cover my rent. King, keep positive. There's going to take some time for reconsideration. You have up to 6 months. I don't recommend that you rush into reconsideration. Once you go through reconsideration, this is going to be your last hurrah, your last attempt at gaining these funds. So it's best that you follow some of the tips that I've provided in my reconsideration videos linked down below. Jersey Michael, good morning, sir. I received my grant on April 30th. It is now May 14th. Experian pulled my credit. Then on May 17th, I received an email saying my loan was pending for an official offer. Is this a good sign? I would certainly say it's a good sign, Mike. The typical process is your credit will be pulled if they see it's in good standing. The typical process that I see is your credit will be pulled, and then a few days later you will get an email asking you to create a login portal and to go and view your offer. So I would say that's a good sign. Marina, I did the same. I sent in an email for reconsideration on May 8th, and I never received any confirmation that they received it. So what I can tell you is if you have not received a confirmation email, to go out and check your spam area. The company servicing the reconsideration is the PDC reconsideration team. So look inside your spam folder. Sometimes the attachments are rather large. So in some cases, if the attachment is too large, it's going to actually default to spam. You would receive a confirmation stating something along the lines of, "Thank you for contacting PDC reconsideration team. Your request has been received and will be processing in the order that it was received. Thank you, PDC reconsideration team." This was some of our testimony from some of our other viewers. Thank you, Andrea, for that. Thank you guys, as always, for watching. And if you like this content, please hit the subscribe button down below and ring that bell. I'm featuring comment feedback daily on my YouTube videos. So you may want to tune in tomorrow. Let me know what you guys are experiencing. Ask any questions you have that you need clarity on, and I will be certain to read and review all those and might be featured tomorrow.